Hi, boys and girls. So I'm going to continue reading you What Could Go Wrong, and I'll send a chapter at a time. So it's up to you how much you want to listen to. But remember, we left off actually in the middle of chapter 9, and the three kids had just gotten off the plane and landed in San Francisco, where Gracie's aunt lives. And they were looking around for the man in the Hawaiian shirt and Mr. Upton. They were worried that they were around and that they were going to try to come after them. So that's where we left off in the middle of chapter 9. I had to put down the stuff I was carrying to get out the paper with the number written on it, or we could reach Aunt Molly. By that time, I had a desperate need to know if the men were following us, so I looked. To my relief, I didn't spot either a bright Hawaiian print shirt or a man in a tan one anywhere among the travelers milling around. Maybe I was wrong, I said hopefully, pulling the folded newspaper out of the side pocket of my flight bag. Maybe they weren't interested in us at all. They just don't look like kids, so they were giving me dirty looks. Charlie leaned against the phone compartment, completely relaxed. Nobody's going to try anything anyway in this crowd. There's a security man over there and another pair of them down that way. If anybody scares you, yell your head off. I laughed nervously, digging for change. So remember, boys and girls, this is a time when there weren't cell phones around like crazy, so they had to go to a payphone that was just somewhere in the airport, and they had to use coins to pay to call their aunt. So that's what they're using as a payphone. When I'm really scared, like when I have a nightmare, I try to scream and I never can. Nothing comes out very loud. I smoothed the paper out so I could read the number Aunt Molly had given me. The tension started to leak out of me as soon as I dialed it. Only I didn't get Aunt Molly. It was her voice, but I knew immediately that it was a recording, one of those answering machines. Hi, this is Molly Portwood. If my caller is Gracie, hang on, kids. I'll be there as soon as I can. My friend is having a severe asthma attack, and I'm going to have to take her to the emergency room for a shot. Heaven knows how long it will take, but I hope we don't have to wait around too long. Leave a message after the beep. Tell me what time you called, and I'll be there as soon as I can, okay? If I know Charlie, he's got a credit card, so why don't you kids go ahead and have dinner in the terminal, and I'll pay you back for it. Oh, and if the caller is anyone else, leave a phone number, and Andrea will call you when she feels better. Bye-bye. Confused, almost stunned, I looked at my watch. It's 5:45. Okay, Aunt Molly. She coming right away? Eddie asked expectantly. No, I felt sort of hollow. She's taking her friend to the emergency room. She said for us to eat dinner and charge it on Charlie's card, and she'll pay him back. She'll be here as soon as she gets her friend home from the hospital. We stood there for a minute looking at each other. Charlie didn't seem quite so relaxed now, though he tried to be casual about glancing down the broad corridor. Well, looks like we are running from nothing anyway. Nobody's paying any attention to us. Shall we go find a place to eat then before we go down and claim our luggage? I don't think there are many places to sit down there, and we don't want to stand up for hours. Leave it to Aunt Molly, I said, refolding the newspaper. Dad would say she's a real Portwood, all right. She asked me to tell her what time my call was, but she didn't tell me what time she was leaving her message. So we don't know if she left for the emergency room a couple of hours ago or just a few minutes ago. I feel so strange. I don't know if I'm hungry or not. I am, Eddie stated positively. Let's get a real meal this time. My mom's going to ask me how much junk I ate, and I'd like to be able to say truthfully that I ate salad while I was here. She doesn't have to know it was only one salad. It'll be more than one, Charlie predicted, because Aunt Molly will see to it. I'm going to have a juicy jumbo burger with fries, and if they throw a little lettuce and tomato on the plate, maybe I'll eat that too. Let's go. I picked up my stuff again, and although there was no sign of the men we thought had attacked Mrs. Basker, I continued to be uneasy as we went on along the concourse toward the shops. I wouldn't really feel comfortable and safe, I thought, until Aunt Molly showed up. I hoped that message had been left hours ago so she could arrive any minute. I stopped so suddenly that Eddie ran into me. What if she does come in soon and we're not down at the baggage place yet? She'll never find us anywhere else. This terminal is as big as Marysville, practically. Charlie was unfazed. She'll have them page us over the PA system, and they'll tell us to use one of the white courtesy phones. Then we'll tell her where we are and decide where to meet. Here, how about this place? Look okay? Any place that got us out of the stream of people with my back to the wall and a view of whoever was going past sounded good to me. We had to wait a few minutes for a table because it was pretty crowded. There were windows along the whole side of the restaurant so we could see everybody moving along the corridor. We had a booth on one side of a divider that ran almost the whole length of the room. The man who waited on us was very polite. "Hi, kids, you decided what you want?" We ordered, and by the time the food came, I decided I was hungry after all. That didn't stop me from keeping watch on the passerbys, though. If Mr. Upton in Hawaiian shirt were still around, I wanted to know it. Sometimes I thought Charlie could read minds, because he said they're probably gone by this time, went down and got their luggage, and grabbed an airport or cab. They didn't have any luggage, I told him. They didn't carry any on, anyway. Mr. Upton was about the only one I saw on the whole plane who didn't have anything to carry. Not even a jacket or a briefcase. Eddie's eyes suddenly grew large, and he forgot to bite into the French fry he'd just dipped in ketchup. He was staring through the window. My heart leaped painfully, and I realized I'd forgotten to watch. "What? Is it them?" "It's sure interesting to watch people," he said. "Look at the color of that lady's hair, will you? And the jewelry, and that fur coat. Why does she need a fur coat this time of year? She'll die when she gets away from the air conditioning in this place." The lavender hair was unusual. I figured she had too many rings and necklaces for them to be real unless she was a movie star, and the fur coat was gorgeous, but I concentrated on getting my heart back in my chest. "Maybe she just came from Iceland or the Scandinavian countries," Charlie guessed, "where it's cold. Either that or she's a movie star and wants to be noticed and doesn't care if she melts inside the coat as long as somebody knows she has it. We gonna have dessert?" We all decided on strawberry shortcake and ice cream. It wasn't quite as good as what we were used to at home, but not bad. I began to relax, the way Charlie seemed to do so easily. "Have you guys noticed the decor in these airports?" I asked. "Decor?" Eddie repeated as if he didn't know what the word meant. In Portland, the carpeting was a hideous mixture of red and blue, and the upholstery on the chairs was enough to make you want to close your eyes. And look at the carpet here, green and brown and orange. Who do they hire to do their decorating? "It's practical," Charlie said. "Doesn't show the dirt of all the thousands of feet that walk on it. Besides, don't you know the psychology of colors in restaurants and public places?" Eddie wiped ketchup off his chin with a paper napkin. "What's psychology got to do with decorating?" "Everything. Pale green is soothing, which is why they use it in so many hospital rooms. Certain shades of pink calm down mental patients or disturb people who've been arrested. And colors like these," he gestured at the floor, "are not restful, and they make people want to hurry up and eat and leave. That way they don't linger over the tables when there are more customers waiting." "I think it's ugly," I said. "And why do they have mirrors on the ceiling? What's the psychology of that?" "I don't think it's psychology," Charlie decided, "but to help the waiters see what's going on behind this long divider and in the booths," he grinned. "They can spy on us." Inadvertently, I glanced up into the mirrors. I'd only noticed them, not really looked up before. And went cold. I mean icy, icy cold. There was no mistaking that shirt with the bright blue and green scarlet print. When my eyes got past being paralyzed, I saw something else. The top of a head going slightly bald, and I didn't recognize that, but there was also a tan shirt. They pretended they didn't know each other, but they were eating together just on the other side of a thin wooden partition between our booths. So Gracie is basically looking up in the ceiling right now where there's mirrors, and she's looking over into another part of the restaurant, and she's recognizing people who are sitting in the restaurant also through the mirror. If they looked up as I was doing now, they could see us. In fact, they might even be able to hear us, though we certainly hadn't heard them. So the only thing dividing them right now is like a little piece of wood that's partitioning them or splitting them off from them, which is why she couldn't see them, because if she looked over, she just saw the wood. But because she looked up in the mirrors, she could see them, that they were sitting like right on the other side of this little thin wall, basically. I must have looked the way I felt, because slowly Charlie and Eddie raised their faces and stared into the overhead mirrors. Eddie gulped and started to say something, but Charlie put a finger to his lips and shook his head. We each had a few bites of dessert left, but nobody was hungry anymore. Charlie looked around in a calculating fashion. To leave the restaurant, we'd have to walk past that divider, which would put us in plain view of the men I'd definitely come to consider the enemy. "What are we going to do?" I asked in a whisper. Not even Charlie had an immediate answer. That's the end of chapter 9.